fast as they could. "Have you seen Jeff Faulkner?" I asked a couple of the other moms who had volunteered to carry trays to the guest of the fundraiser. They shook their heads. "If you do, please tell him his wife is looking for him." "What was the big eye roll about when you walked in?" Iris placed tiny little paper cupcake holders on my tray. Each one was filled by the perfect bite-sized vanilla cupcake with a nice thick topping of buttercream icing and a sliced strawberry on top for decoration. I overheard some of the women out there talking about how this fundraiser had to make more money than the casino night because they don't want to go back to casino night next year. I did my best impression of them with a whiny voice to match the feeling they gave me. "I've been hearing a lot of that lately. I guess they didn't like casino night." Audrey put the finishing touches on the charcuterie board before one of the waitstaff of the country club carefully picked up the massive piece of wood and slowly propped it up on one of his shoulders. He gingerly took a few steps to get his footing and then walked out of the kitchen. Iris headed over to the refrigerator and walked in. "Casino night was great." I put my hands on my thick hips and gave a pouty lip. I should know. That was when Grady was still in high school and I was the booster mom. My son, Grady, was now a grown man with a family of his own. Recently, he and his wife Julia had blessed me with my first grandchild, Clara. The thought of her made my heart swoon with delight. "I remember how much you stressed over it." Iris emerged from the walk-in refrigerator with a cookie sheet filled with mini cheesecakes and set them on top of the workstation. "The first hour was a bit touchy." She looked at Audrey, then picked up the can of whipped cream and shook it. "Bernie was counting the money every, 10 seconds?" She questioned me. "Maybe, but after a few drinks in those dads, we were rolling in the donations." I nodded with a big grin across my face. "That's why casino night works. They were at the table betting and not driving around in a golf cart drinking all day." Iris made a little volcano on top of one of the cheesecakes and put a raspberry in the middle for the decoration before she plated it on the tray for another volunteer to take out for the hungry golfers and their families before the big meal was served. "Yeah. Then they come in here and eat all the food, which soaks up the alcohol." Audrey had moved over to the oven, where she was checking on the personal-sized hens she was serving. "Yep, that's when they'll realize they don't want to write a check because they are thinking a little clearer." I pushed the swinging door open a little and peeked out to see if Grady and Julia had gotten there yet. I didn't see them, but I did see Rachel Faulkner. She seemed to be in a panic as she rushed around to the various groups and hurried away as soon as their heads shook no. "Your idea of having the casino dealer asking after each hand if they wanted to donate their chips to the booster club was brilliant because they were so busy drinking and gambling, they didn't realize their chips were adding up over the hands, and they just kept buying more chips when they were out." Iris walked up behind me and also took a peek out. "Wonder where Jeff is?" I turned around when I recognized the tone in her voice. For a brief moment, our eyes caught. I could see there was deep concern on her face, but I didn't dare ask. I didn't want to know. "Here." She shoved the new tray of brownies in my hand. "Go give these to the kids." "Your time with me is limited," I reminded her. I know. Clara comes first," Iris teased, shoving me out the door. She was right. Baby Clara came first now that she was here. I had altered my entire life around Grady and his needs after he was born. Richard had a good job, and I was able to quit my mail carrier job and be a stay-at-home mom. It was a wonderful time for Grady and me. Grady had been in high school when Richard was killed in a car wreck, and I had to go back to working at the post office. Even though Grady was a teenager and could pretty much take care of himself, I still spent every waking moment outside of work there, and that included all the school events as well as being the booster president. Even when Grady went off to college, I stayed involved in the school system. Sugar Creek Gap was a small mill town in the foothills of the mountains in Kentucky, so there weren't a lot of parents who had time to volunteer, or they'd leave once their children were out of school, since I knew a lot of people in the community.